happy, healthy, whole crew. It's Lori here, and I am coming you today on Friday, and I should say coming to you. I'm sorry, I'm coming you? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, one of those days. I'm coming to you on Friday, June the 28th. Almost lost my day. For a keto video. It's Friday. I do keto videos on Friday. I try to anyway, every Friday. I also have gotten in the habit of doing what I'm wearing today on Fridays, but not today. I've been exercising and running around, and you don't need to know what I'm wearing. Who cares? Okay, so keto. Let me focus here. Get back to it. Today, our video, keto video, is on being fat adapted. And if you will forgive me, I am having some issues here with my. Let's see if that'll work. With my screen, one staying on. This is like my third video. It keeps kicking me off. I don't know if it has to do with being out here or the lighting or what, but then it also keeps bright and dim, bright and dim. So, anyway, today's keto video, fat adapted. Focus. ADHD. I am going to discuss being fat adapted, what it means, how to get there, the difference in that and being in ketosis, some signs that you are or aren't fat adapted, and just a few things like that. Now, if my screen moves, I'm so sorry because it's leaning against my umbrella that I'm sitting under, and the wind is fierce today, which feels great. Okay, so what is fat adapted? Fat adapted is when your body is trained, is completely trained, let's just say that, to burn fats for fuel. So fat adapted is kind of the stage you get into after you have gotten into ketosis. So a quick kind of difference in being in ketosis and fat adapted before I go too much further. Being in ketosis is when you have cut your carbs way back, like down to 20 grams a day or less, and you have upped your healthy fats and vegetables and your proteins. Your proteins can be 3 to 6 ounces, but that's all covered in another video. So when you've the main thing is cutting your carbs way back to below 20 grams a day or less. Anyway, so once you have done that, so sorry, it went away really fast, the wind is blowing. Once you have done that and you have cut them back and your body is going through the process of stopping burning carbs and learning how to burn fats, that's ketosis. If you do the test strips, you'll notice you may use the test strip and you're in bright pink, and that's because your body, you may notice that the first 2 or 3 weeks that you do it, your test strip comes out one of the really bright pink, the really bright pink colors early on, and you'll do that for several days, and then all of a sudden you'll test, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, 5 weeks into it, and your strips will start being just a very hint of pink, just the really lighter one on the scale there, and that is because, and I'm dark again, I'm so sorry. That is because when you first start and you're getting into ketosis and you're training your body to be fat adapted, at the very beginning your body starts producing these ketones. When you cut the carbs down, it almost automatically starts producing them, but it doesn't know what to do with them, so it just gets rid of them. So that's why when you're using the urine strips, there are different ways to test, but if you're using the urine strips, that is why the first couple weeks or so when you test, it may show that you're really high in, you have lots of ketones in your urine. That's because your body it's not quite to where it knows yet what to do with those ketones, and so it's just getting rid of them, it's flushing them out. And then as you continue doing it, you will maybe go down the color scale there and have a lighter color. That doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong or you did too many carbs or any of that. Don't worry about that. That could be, in that case, because your body is finally knows what to do with those ketones, is becoming fat adapted, and so it's using those ketones then instead of just getting rid of them. So the difference in being in ketosis and fat adapted is when you're in ketosis, it's your body training itself to become fat adapted. So you're not necessarily fat adapted yet. You're still going to have cravings. You're still going to, go through the, but anyway, we'll talk about those in a little bit. But then being fat adapted is once your body is already completely trained to burn fat for fuel. It knows it. It has it memorized. Your body has a way of memorizing if you've done it long enough. Once you have been in ketosis long enough and you become fat adapted, and you become fat adapted, I'm going to have to stop doing these videos outside. although it's great out here, once you become fat adapted for long enough, your body memorizes that and will never forget it to burn fat for fuel instead of burning carbs. So it's almost like, for a lack of a better example, riding a bike. You learn how to ride a bike as a kid. You can ride a bike all your life. You may not ride a bike for years and then get one out again. It may take you a little bit of, refresher to get back on and be able to make, move that way, but you remember how to do it. You didn't forget how to ride it. You just haven't ridden it in years, and you're kind of, stiff and out of it a little. So it's kind of like that. Your body memorizes it and learns how to do that, and it doesn't forget it. So that's a great thing, because that means later on down the line, once you're completely fat adapted and you've been fat adapted for a long time, you can slowly add back some carbs and add back some sugars and switch from ketogenic lifestyle to something else, maybe a paleo or a vegan, or something along those lines, where you can add back a few, or maybe just not be so strict in the carb count. Go from the 20 grams. That's why we say, when you start with 20 grams or less. If you're just maintaining, go to 30. And if you're perfectly fine with it, or a guy or somebody that doesn't necessarily want to lose it all, but you could probably go up to 50 grams a day and be completely fine. Your body is going to burn the fat still, even though you put the carbs in there. When your body goes to store the carb, it's not going to. It's going to end up burning the fat that it's trying to store. Your body's going to stay lean, and you won't have to worry about it. So anyway, back to focus. Okay, so to become fat adapted, you need to be in ketosis. Everyone is different. I'm not going to say, 21 days, 6 hours, and 12 minutes. Everyone is different. Everybody's body is different. Depending on which way you're getting into ketosis or which way you're becoming fat adapted, could make a difference. If you're staying under 20 grams, or if you're doing 30 grams, it may take you a little longer for 30. If you've decided not to do the ketogenic lifestyle and keep your carbs under 20, but you're intermittent fasting, it could take you even longer as on intermittent fasting, because you can still become fat adapted with intermittent fasting. It's a little harder, it takes longer. You have to be I can't say a lot more disciplined, it's just a different discipline. But anyway, in general, to become fat adapted, it takes people anywhere from like 6 weeks to 12 weeks or so. The longer you're fat adapted before you go back to adding the carbs and stuff in, the better. Because the better your body's going to be at burning, and the better it's going to have it memorized to do that. But it could be as little as 6 weeks, and it could be as many as 12 weeks. Somewhere in between there is when you're going to become fat adapted. Now, you're going to be able to tell if you're fat adapted, because before you become fat adapted, and you're a sugar burner, we call it, you're going to have certain symptoms. So as long as you're having any of these symptoms, you're not fat adapted yet. Once these symptoms are gone, most likely you are fat adapted. These symptoms are feeling hangry. You're so hungry, craving these carbs, that you're just getting frustrated and angry about it. If you're still feeling those symptoms of being hangry, you're still not fat adapted yet. You're still a sugar burner. So if you still need snacks between meals, if you're still having to, self-explanatory, eat snacks between your meals because you just can't make it because you're still hungry, not fat adapted. If you're having trouble feeling full or satiated, still not fat adapted. Once you're fat adapted, your body is going to be full, satiated longer. You're not going to need that. You're going to be able, instead of going, 2 or 3 hours without eating, you're going to be able to go 4 to 6 hours without eating easily and not get hungry. So if you're still feeling hungry and not satiated and can't go more than 2 or 3 hours without eating, you're not fat adapted yet. If you're still craving sweets badly, you're not fat adapted yet. That's simple, self-explanatory again, because you're still burning carbs. If you can't lose weight in your midsection or your stomach, if you're doing the ketogenic lifestyle and you're in ketosis, you're testing on the strips, you're losing some weight, or not weight yet, but probably some weight, but you're not losing it around your midsection or your stomach, that is a good sign that you are not fat adapted. Once you become fat adapted, and I can tell you this personally, when I first started doing it, getting into ketosis before I was fat adapted, I started losing weight. I didn't have an issue with that, but I started losing weight, and my face, my neck, my arms, my shoulders were some of the first, I noticed it being gone. I started noticing some, I call it back fat, some fat there that was going away, but my stomach and my midsection started going away but not as quickly. I mean, it was slower. It took longer for my midsection because I was not fat adapted yet. Once you become fat adapted, your stomach area, your midsection is going to start getting thinner, and you're actually going to be shocked. A good way that I could tell personally, everyone's different, but a good way I could tell personally that I was fat adapted was I started, even though I wasn't losing much weight, and a lot of you will see this and you'll notice it, even though I wasn't losing much weight, my pants and shorts and shirts and stuff around the stomach got looser. I could go down a pant size in clothes, but I hadn't lost hardly any weight, if any at all. That was the first sign that I could tell I was fat. Well, besides the sugar cravings gone, but I could tell I was fat adapted because even though I wasn't losing a lot of weight, I was losing my midsection and could wear smaller clothes. So if you're not losing weight in your midsection, or being able to tell a difference in your stomach, you're not fat adapted yet. I covered that. I'm sorry. I told you a little about the difference between in ketosis and fat adapted. Getting in ketosis is when you're training your body to burn the fat. It's the beginning stages when you're just first starting to train it by cutting the carbs down to 20 grams or below, and upping your healthy fats and your vegetables, and keeping your proteins to 3 to 6 ounces. But anyway, that's when you're training it to be fat adapted, but it's not fat adapted then. You're just in ketosis then. Fat adapted, like we said, is when you are trained, it's well trained, it knows how to burn the fats. Can you be in ketosis and fat adapted, or can you be, obviously you can be both. You can be in ketosis and fat adapted. That's when you're doing a ketogenic lifestyle. Can you be in ketosis and not fat adapted? Yes, because that's when you're beginning it and training your body, but you're not there yet. Can you be fat adapted and not in ketosis? Yes, you absolutely can. This comes later on once you've been fat adapted a while and you start adding back some of those carbs that you weren't doing, or you decide to switch to, like I said, a vegan diet, a paleo diet, when you decide to go from 20 grams or less up to 30 or 50 or whatever grams, those are cases where you're still going to be fat adapted. Your body has memorized that. It's trained, it's well trained. You're still going to be fat adapted, but you may not be in ketosis anymore. If you up your carbs to more than 20, you're going to be, you're going to get yourself out of ketosis, but it's okay because you're still fat adapted. So that's why anyone I've talked to personally, that I've talked to for any length of time, which 5 minutes or more usually is all it takes me to say, if you can just stick to it for at least 6 weeks, until you can tell you're fat adapted, it's okay. You can go back. Now, you're not going to want to, trust me, once you've made it that far and you feel so much better and you can tell how much better your body's working, you're never going to want to go back to the way you were eating before. But if you can go back to adding some stuff. Again, anyone that's talked to me for at least 5 minutes or more knows, I say, I love the ketogenic lifestyle, but by golly, once in a while I have a blizzard and I don't feel a bit bad about it. I like them. I like sweets. I have some once in a while. People have seen me eat them and I've seen faces like, oh, you're going to fall off the wagon, or you're going to, you know what, people, you don't understand it. And it's not an upset, frustrated thing that I get when people, I just kind of laugh it off because they don't understand the fat adapted thing. Once you get fat adapted and you've been fat adapted long enough, you can add some of those once in a while and it doesn't hurt you. Literally now, for the last probably 4 months at least, just off the top of my head thinking, at least 4 months, I have gone up and down 2 pounds or so, off and on, and I don't even care about it. I don't even stress about it because I know my body is fat adapted. So unless I literally just pig out on carbs for months at a time, I'm not going to go back up in weight like I was. Now, could I get lower? Could I lose more? Sure, I could. I could kind of streamline my plan and how I'm eating and how I'm, I'll be the first to tell you, I could exercise and lose more probably pretty quickly because I'm still not a huge exerciser. Anyway, but I don't worry about it because I know I'm not ever going to be out of that, fat adaptation. So I know I can eat some things like that, which is great. If you can just stick to it and hold on, you'll get there. Okay, so you can be one without the other, or you can be both. All right, how to tell when you're fat adapted. When you can go longer between meals, we talked about that. When you can go at least 4 to 6 hours between meals. If you're intermittent fasting, and that's how you're getting fat adapted instead of a ketogenic lifestyle. When you can intermittent fast longer, I've got to hurry, it's going to cut me off. When you can intermittent fast for longer periods, when you can go 18, 20 hours and you're fine, you're not starving, you're not feeling those cravings, and you're making it fine, and you can work out and all that, then you're fat adapted. Okay, and I answered those two questions, and I answered that. Okay, so pretty much that's the difference in that and keto and being in ketosis and being fat adapted. That kind of explains getting fat adapted. It's a pretty easy concept once you understand it. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. If you're not liking and sharing these, please share these videos with people so we can help other people and grow our community. If you have any questions or problems, like I said, let me know, and like and share. Hopefully coming to you guys from the beach next time. Anyway, several more new videos coming up. Love you guys. See you later. Have a great weekend and enjoy your 4th. Bye.